This game is rated T for ages 13 and up. For more information, please go to esrb.org. Judging by her attire, she probably picked paper. Let's be real here. Hello everyone! Gunvolt here, but you can call me KV, and welcome back to Let's Play Luminous Avenger X2! On the last episode, we went to the Arctic block, which I loved because it's an ice stage, and I like ice stages, and we technically could have gotten all the emblems, but I'm just bad. So, there. But we've got a new ability, the thing I forgot already, Cryo Flash. Let's actually set this. There we go. I can go there. Yeah, we set all the things. We're missing 2 EX weapons. So naturally, now we have 2 more stages to take on, Industrial Block or Space Block. However, we're going to talk.
That should wrap up your maintenance. Do you have any issues moving around?
Oh my goodness! My locomotion is smoother than ever. Your maintenance skills are truly amazing.
I mean, they better be, because he has to do it on himself a lot, I'm sure.
I always thought humans would be good at maintenance since they are the ones who made us. Guess I was right.
Some are, some aren't.
Some are jerks, some are not jerks. Some actually are good at the scenes, some are good intentioned, but can't do it just as well, unfortunately.
For example, Gohaku did maintenance on my eye once, and I could only see her as a sprite for a while.
I thought Gohaku was good at machines.
I still can't figure out how she pulled that off. It's an unsolved mystery.
Come on, guys! Enough with that already! I already apologized a bajillion times!
Sprite? What is that?
Well, it depends on what you're looking at. If we were to go back in time to mythology, Sprite is a type of pixie or fairy that I don't know what they actually did in mythology. But I'm pretty sure if we're talking about sprites right here and we're playing a video game, we're talking about video game sprites, and in video games, you see.
An image made using dots. It's like a picture in video game terminology. They're also known as pixel art. A long time ago, video games had to use many dots in a small variety of colors to represent characters and backgrounds. As technology advanced, they became less common since developers had more options. But pixel art continued to exist as a stylistic choice.
Like how most of the game in stage looks.
Oh, wow. You're so knowledgeable, Copen.
And honestly, I like that they bring this up because I feel that with a lot of modern games, even if you're doing a 2D game, they go for an art style that, like, for the most part can still work. I mean, like, if your game like Ori in the Blind Forest, Ori in the Will-O-Wisps, it looks gorgeous. I like the style of the recent Shantae games as well, but I feel that there is something lost by not doing pixel art, and because there is no limitation, essentially, at this point for how you would do a pixelated graphic, you can go hog wild with that. I think that's just really cool to see. I know the stuff like Shovel Knight and everything, but here's my soapbox. 8-bit style has been done to death. We need more games like this one, like The Messenger's kind of half 8-bit style, half 16-bit, but you know what I mean. We need more games that expand the range of the pixel art style, but really push it to the limit to see what we can do with that, because that seems really cool to me. 8-bit style was a great idea for the time, but it's been done to death. And that's why I'm happy I've seen recent Shovel Knight games that they're coming out with are actually not using that style anymore. And I'm happy about that, so I hope if they make the official sequel to Shovel Knight, it will not be 8-bit style, because it's been done to death. We need to see more games that are in the 16 and 32-bit style, or what would a 64 or 128-bit style sprite-based game look like? That seems really cool. Let's do that.
Isn't it common knowledge? I guess it wouldn't be.
I don't know if she knows what video games are. Anywho's, what we do have these stages to go to, I did hint at last time that instead, we were going to take on DLC stages. The DLC stages are not super long, they're just boss fights, but they're still pretty cool. We're going to be taking on 2, And we're going to start with Kohaku Otori. Now about these. These are paid content. And unfortunately, as of the recording right now, as far as I'm aware, they're all still at the full DLC price. I don't know if there's a DLC pack that can get you them for cheaper or not. But most of them are $7.99 on the eShop or wherever you're getting your DLC from. Some of them aren't, like this one right here. That one down there was only $3.99. And it seems kind of nuts for why they're so expensive when they're just boss fights. But in the case of Kohaku Otori and the next character we'll be fighting, they are guest characters from different companies. So part of that price is actually going to paying the other company for having their character be in the game. So you're helping out the other company as well when you buy these DLC characters. So that's good. Anywho's, Kohaku Otori, let's go talk to her. We just want to talk. No fight. I just said they're boss fights, but we're just gonna talk. No fight. All of the boss fights. Oh, we just start. I forget about this. We just start with hers. I'm used to the dialogue and everything. Okay, just say that. That's fine. All these boss fights reuse settings that we've been to. That's why I felt comfortable doing at least this one and the next one, because they're settings we've been to already, which is just the jungle. And if you also notice, Kohaku Otori has a weird, interesting thing about her. It's not like super weird when you think about it, but it's weird when you consider that I've been so much going over all the English voice casts of this game. She doesn't have one. Now that is because her game, Cogen Sword of Rewinds, doesn't have an English cast. So, to keep things consistent with the release of her game, which actually came out on the exact same day as Luminous Avenger X2, she retains her Japanese voice actress, who is Asuka Kakamoto. Her game, Cogen Sword of Rewind, was developed by Gem Drops. They're another indie studio in Japan. Seem pretty cool. They've done mostly support work in games such as I Am Setsuna and World's End Club. Probably heard of those ones. But they have also some original works like Crystar? Future Me, can you spell that out? I don't know how you pronounce that game. As I said, to preserve consistency, because if you were to pick up her games, she speaks in Japanese. They keep the Japanese voice actress, and they didn't recast for English. So that's why she's in Japanese. Anywho's, this boss fight is kind of silly. As you just noticed, Locked On doesn't do a heck of a lot because she can block your shots pretty easily unless she's doing that air attack. So yeah, now she's blocking, nothing's happening. We want to disarm that sword of hers, because that sword of hers actually is a problem. Let's use our new ability to slow down time. And then do this a little bit. And keep the lock on. If we ram into her, she will drop her sword, which is the source of her power, so she's kind of she can't do much when she doesn't have it on her. And also, when she's blocking, she's pretty much impervious to attacks. Makes you think, hey man, this character is really cool. I've actually played Cogen and Sword of Rewind. Not a bad game. You can definitely tell it's a smaller indie studio that worked on it. Music's pretty good. We're actually hearing a rendition of the main theme from that game, done by one of the Inti Creates staff, I believe. Actual composer for that game is Motoi Sakuraba, who you probably know from the Tales series, so that's pretty cool. I never beat the game because what it asks you to do to beat the game is a little silly, and I'm not a huge fan of it. But it's not a bad game. I recommend picking it up if you could. That said, Kohaku is a boss fight here. I'm doing poorly, but it's fine. We got her down to 2/3. We got down 1 health bar and it's 2 thirds. Her main attacks are basically just doing those big sword waves, also doing the spinning attack, which will make us bounce all over the place. No sword for you. Also, she can do this dash. Oh, which does that. I forgot about that part, where it has the thing that comes down and the rocks and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna slow down time here for a bit. Oh, well, it doesn't work right now because she... Not only can she block your lock-on attacks, she can also deflect them and send them going back at you, which is just delightful. Because this is a DLC boss, I feel no shame in just doing healing all the time. Of the DLC bosses, she is probably one of my least favorites, because I just don't find her fight super interesting. And it makes sense, she was the first DLC boss to be added to the game, so they're kind of testing the waters here. Also, we have destroyed the ground here completely. Okay. Also, I'm just being a silly butt and not actually trying, so let's try it. Let's get full health and try for once. That works, at least. She can't block that, I guess. Or she's just not been trying to block it. Oop, okay, there we go. Also, that rock should have hit me, I think? Whatever. It's fine. No sword for you. It's important to know this disarm technique, and you will see why very shortly. Depending on if I can actually... Nope. Yeah, she also can dodge behind you. See, it's really cool because since I have played this game, I can actually tell you, like, these are all moves she can use in her game, which is really cool to see. It makes you kind of just like, oh, hey, maybe I should play this game. It's also a 2D, side-scrolling, sprite-based game, so we need more of those. So yeah, do recommend picking it up. That said, now she's down to last health bar, she can do a super. She is not doing her super. Ow. I ran into that myself like a silly belly. Right! I forgot about this tech. Partially because I don't think I've ever been able to use it properly in her game, so I don't remember I can do that. I'll heal again. I got some points at least. The nice thing about healing is that it at least stores the points that you've gotten, the kudos you've gotten. Thus far, at least. Ooh, okay. No. Here's Optic Barrier being used in the boss fight. It's so useful. Alright. Oh. She's blocking, so not much we can do at this point. I mean, I could go disarm her, but I don't want to. Yeah, take this Kohaku, but not our Kohaku. Oh, she's deflecting them. Nope, that's bad. You can see they start going everywhere, and eventually they will hurt you. And she can roll to get out of the tag. And we killed her. But here's her actual super. She rewinds time to when you start doing the third phase. As you've noticed, our health's actually back up, because that's the health we had when we started the third phase of this fight. And shield is continuing to attack. There is no way to get out of this super unless we purposely disarm her before we get the last hits. That is the one praise I do give this boss fight, because that's a really cool way to take out a boss. Having to purposely know to do something specific to make sure you win. And it's not like they don't give you the information. She constantly is guarding to kind of goad you into knocking her, and that's how you figure out, by the way, you can disarm her. And I keep using this at all the inopportune times. So let's get her down as much as possible. That was a bad idea because she still has one more to do, does she not? Yep. Another thing about Cryo Flash, it actually does some damage over time for when you have time frozen, or slowed down rather. But it's helpful. And that's Kohaku Otori. She just comes here because in her game there's this whole thing about cyberspace, and I guess she got locked into cyberspace that came to Copen's world and something. Doesn't have to make sense, it was just neat that she showed up. Now here's the deal with these bosses. They also give you abilities when you beat them. Just not in the way you think. For Kohaku, we get the Ouroboros System X ability. What does this do? Well, if we go to our menu...
Such a good girl. I just want to be like, are you an angel?
Sorry, that was cute. I had to listen to that. If we go to our menu and we go to our abilities, there is now a 4th page of abilities. These are all the DLC abilities you can get from fighting these DLC bosses. And what they do is essentially enhance abilities Copen already has. In this case, Cryo Flash no longer consumes energy, it can no longer damage enemies on the entire screen. So remember I said Cryo Flash can do like constant minor damage when you have it open for the entire screen? Yeah, you forego that, but on the plus side, it never runs out of energy. So now you can constantly spam it. We're putting that on.
I may be new to this, but please feel free to request anything of me. Oh, yes. I'll get right on
I
it.
didn't request anything though, Null, you're fine. That said, we're going to go to our next DLC boss fight, Yumo. In the case of all of these DLC boss fights, they were released over a period of time from, I believe, the middle of February to the middle of March, or the beginning of March. If you have the game now, you can get all of them, so it's not that big of a deal. But both Kohaku and Yumo have the $7.99 price tag with them, so keep that in mind. But, like Kohaku, Yumo is also from a different company, so we're helping pay for that. Let's go see Yumo.
Mission start.
What's cool about Yumo's stage is that it's the jungle stage again, but we get a slightly different backdrop, and this makes it look really neat. I like this aesthetic to it. And there she is!
这眼神又拿着电锯，是附身者吗？
And now, this is where Kohaku Otori is the weirdest one out of the bunch. She doesn't have an intro cutscene like Yumo does to talk with her and introduce her as a character. Yumo does, however. And, if you noticed...
A human? What are you doing here?
而且无法沟通，果然是附身者。
She's not speaking English or Japanese. She is in fact speaking Mandarin. That is because Yumo is from the game Dusk Diver 2. That game had no English VAs, so again, keeping consistency, they used the same voice actress that Dusk Diver 2 had in its original release back in Taiwan, which was in, I believe, February of 2022. Future releases of Dusk Diver 2, which have now come to Japan and to the United States as of this recording, do have Japanese voice acting, but at the time when this character was coming out into Luminous Avenger X2 as the DLC boss, there was no Japanese voice actor. So they stuck with the original actress who speaks in Mandarin, which is the game's natural language. So I think that's kind of cool. Her actual game is developed by a studio called Wanin Games. I don't know much about them. but they're a studio in Taiwan. Also, I didn't bring it up earlier, but Kohaku Otori's Japanese voice actress is Asuka Kakumoto. Not sure of what their work entails, because I've mainly been looking into English voice actors and what they've been doing, so I apologize for that. It's Yumo here. Voice actress name is Swonmin Mil. And I hope I pronounced that right, because Mandarin and different facets of the Chinese language are very specific on how you pronounce things. So apologies if I didn't say that correctly to Swonmin Mil, but she's the voice actress for Yumo and does a fantastic job. As far as her game goes, her game's actually a 3D action game that's kind of in the same vein as like Bayonetta or something. Haven't played it, but it looks kind of interesting. It's on Steam, and I think it's even on the Switch, but I heard the Switch port isn't that good, so.
I guess it's coming down to a fight.
Doesn't have to, Copen. She's just like, I don't know who this guy is, and you're like, I don't know who this is, and we're like, oh, well, we don't speak the same language, so blah, 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 blah. Copen. Learn other languages. This boss fight I find really fun. Again, because her game's a 3D action game, it's interesting of how all of these relate to like attacks you can do in that game, but in a 2D space. Also, the music here is really cool. I don't know who composed the music for Dusk Diver 2, but it sounds really cool, at least in the context of Inti Creates adapting it. So, I'm more than happy with that. She herself seems to have some really unique powers because, as you saw in her portrait, she actually had this more black hair with this green streak, but now when we're fighting her, she's actually green hair. So, like, this entire character and the series that they're from really intrigues me, and I kind of want to play this game at some points. Probably not on the channel, but at least on my own time. It might be something more of, like, I play it, I understand what it is, and I kind of go, oh, okay, that was neat, like I did with Cogen, because I did beat Cogen. But, I can still see this being a lot of fun. Yeah, I just like that her attack pattern, like, is something that's a lot more adaptable to, compared to, like, Kohaku Otori's. Whoop. This feels like a much more interesting boss fight, because a lot of it is just reaction and whatnot. It's a good 2D boss fight. Which, again, is interesting because not from a 2D game. Kohaku's boss fight, I feel, is a little marred by the fact they're trying to make her do all the moves she can do in that game, and the movement in Cogen does not translate super well to this game, I feel. But we'll heal. And again, I love the backdrop because it gives this orange tint that kind of reflects her colors. From what I can tell, at least from looking at screenshots of her game, that's kind of similar to how her game looks aesthetically, so nice touch there. No, stop, you stop that. Yeah, and she will have an actual regular super, unlike Kohaku's silly "you can't kill me" super. Also, she can go like Super Saiyan. I don't know, man. Everything about this character seems super cool. Okay, I forget how this attack ends. Make giant electric ball. Okay, stay away from giant electric ball. Easy enough. Like, if you can make a fighting game out of these characters, this would probably be one of my favorite characters to play. She just looks super fun. But yeah, that's Yumo. I don't know much else about her. I can tell you more things about Kohaku and like her game and everything, but you should probably go play them on your own and see for yourself if you like them or not. Don't overdo it! Saw blade to leg! What I liked is all the aerial attacks she had. She had a lot of cool different movements and everything. Just, that's such a fun boss fight. Worth the price of admission, in my opinion, even if I was really bad at it. I'll try to be better at it later. Or at some other points. So we get the D-Burst ability. Don't know what that is. I can tell you the Ouroboros system is the sword that Kohaku Otori was using.
Would you like to play with us, Copen?
I don't know how to use the D-Burst system. But, as noted, it's another ability you can get from the DLC bosses. And what it does is the bullet dash gauge will be used even while not in overdrive. So, if you're going, man, I really wish this game played more like the first one, get the Emo DLC, beat her, and there you have it. Now you can just bullet dash to your heart content. For the most part, you still have to land eventually because it still has a little meter. But for the most part, bullet dash to your heart's content. And the cool thing about the DLC that is if you have been eagle-eyed as we've been going through the game so far, this tab was unlocked the entire time. So you can do these first things if you wanted to. I mean, some of them don't make sense, like getting her ability doesn't really help because you don't have Cryo Flash at the beginning of the game, but it's still kind of neat. Now there are 3 more boss fights to do. All of these, well, 2 of these are Inti Creates specific, and one of them is half Inti Creates, half Sunsoft, because technically Inti Creates made the character design and the game of this character, but not the people who own the license of the character and the game title. We'll be talking to them later, because I believe he's a spoiler for a stage you haven't been to yet, and, hey, look, it's the other character from the game we're playing right now, in the other game. We'll talk to them later. We'll talk to you, like, soonish, probably. I don't like you. That all said, that's going to be today's episode. I know it's just 2 DLC boss fights, but I think they're really cool. Highly recommend you picking it up. Hopefully it goes on sale at some point, so it's a bit cheaper for other people to come by. But otherwise, it's still fun, and we recommend you getting them, especially because they do give you some kind of broken abilities. So, there's that. Next time, we'll be going on to another regular mission. I think it's time for us to go to space. Because why not? I like space. Let's go to space. Or you go to industrial. Well, you'll just have to see on the next episode where we go. If you like this video, please consider hitting that like button below. If you want to see more content from me, please consider subscribing. Luminous Avenger X2 is available on Nintendo Switch and a bunch of other systems. I'm playing the Nintendo Switch version, which is why I said Nintendo Switch. Please pick it up and give Inti Creates your support, and maybe pick up some of the DLC to give Inti Creates some more support, and the other developers I mentioned, like Gem Drops and Wani Games. Pick up their games as well. Cogen Sort of Rewind and Dusk Diver 2. I know I was kind of harsh on Cogen, but that was my personal opinion on it. You should play the game for yourself to form an opinion on it, besides just me saying, I didn't like parts of it, so. Give them your support. That's the whole reason why they did these crossover promotion boss fights, and I think that's really cool. Most importantly, though, for all of you watching, listening, now or in the future, please have a wonderfully great day, and I will see you all on the next one from when we go to another normal stage. Until then, ciao.